but it's pretty much the same thing for everything else. Well, we have these template rules in YAML that you have seen. You have seen, I think, that it is quite simple, at least for basic usage. So overriding for the default full view, creating custom views like embed or embedded line. You have seen some of the matchers. There are many more. You've seen the main functions like easy render field, which would be one of your best friends. You've seen the documentation for the various fields. Don't forget about it. And again, please speak up if something is missing, if something is not clear, if something is wrong. We will fix it. Then we talked a bit about multi-language, what EasyPublish does in terms of multi-language, and what we use from Symfony. Is the part about translating strings with Symfony clear for everybody? Well, anyway, it's the process. And what we had in EasyPublish Legacy was very, very close to this. It's just faster and better built, but it's the same thing. Same for localizing date. We use the standard features from Symfony 2. Then what else did we see? The easy content name to get the name of the content, translated name. We saw easy field value to get the raw value of a field, for instance, with the checkbox for the featured thing. We saw sub-requests with the embed for the beer attached to a review. We quickly saw how object relations work. And I think that's pretty much where we stopped, right?
Yeah.
So what will we do next?
We will obviously skip a few steps, given the time. As the second part of the day is more intermediate, maybe we should directly jump to the beer, to the full view with custom controller. So we'll just dive into step 5.
So we are going to look now at custom controllers for viewing content and or locations. You've seen that we have a couple default controllers: view location, view content, the one for embed. Those controllers will basically fetch from the API the content or location or whatever that was given as a parameter, assign it, set a few headers and so on, and get the template from the view manager, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
But this is not always sufficient. For instance, let's say you need another content that is, for instance, a related object and don't want to do a sub-request, or you want to list the sub-items from an element. We don't have any controller for listing sub-items for now. We will in the future, but fortunately, template rules like we've seen can be extended to specify a custom controller instead of the default one, which pretty much gives you the possibility to do anything. So this is what Jérôme will show now. For which one will you show it?
We're going to start again on the full view for beer. You can open the beer.html.twig. And you can also open the beer controller. So for what we skipped, just for you to know, we now have the home page. So we can show it. This one.
So you should all be on step 5 now, and you should have the home page working.
All right.
So what features do we have on the homepage? Just to
on the homepage, we have now basically a quick link to the main beers, to the beer categories. But yeah, that's a detail. We also have the latest beer selection. We skipped that part, the beer selection article.
in a nutshell, how is what is part of the beer selection?
Yes, a beer selection, I can view it directly, is basically an article, a small article with the content saying why we want to feature all those few beers for this event. So here it's a selection for Easy Summer Camp. You can find it in the admin interface, see in the blog here. You will find this selection for Easy Summer Camp. So this is basically a blog article, whatever you call it, with a few beers selected. So here we chose the Delirium Tremens and the Brooklyn Black Chocolate Stout. Yeah, the full view is, well, this is a very small description, but anyway. And embedded view of the beers we chose. This, I think I translated it, so if you add the FRE site access in the URI here, it will probably be translated. Yeah, here we go. So this was one of the topics for this workshop, be able to make multi-language websites in a nutshell, very easily. So here you can see that we also have these strings, static strings. See here it's in French. Well, we don't have the author name here. Translated dates and translated content. So you can see on in the admin interface there are two translations. Here you can directly edit if you want. It's for those who don't know, to add a new translation. It is very easy. I mean, you just edit here in a new translation. Let's see here for reviews, for instance. Here, edit in new translation, and then you can choose the new translation, which one is based on. So we would base on English, and then it's very easy to translate. So there is nothing new from the Easy Publish Legacy.
And so just in case somebody isn't that familiar with legacy and multi-language, again, this part is kind of fully automatic. Depending on your site access, each site access supports one or more languages. The English one supports English content, so it will show content in English. And the French one supports first French and English as a fallback, meaning that if something is not translated to French, it will be shown in English. It could also have been French only, in which case it would only have had French content. Content can also be marked as always available, in which case it doesn't have to be translated, and it will be shown whatever the translations are. And it's typically used for containers like the beers folder or reviews folder that don't really need to be translated and are just placeholders for more content. So you should not have to care about this. It's only configuration, and you should almost never have to specify which language you want when working with the content within templates.
Well, for configuration, it's you can see it in easypublish.yaml for the language fallback. You see here for ENG. ENG is the default site access. It's already configured on the top of the file. Here, default site access ENG, meaning that if you don't specify it in the URI or whatever the matching is, this is the one which will be used. And for the FRE, you can see that we have two languages. First is the prioritized one, and then we fall back to English. So this is how we get here the translated content for the article, but the content for the beer itself is not translated yet, so you get it in English.
Yes. Regarding duplicate content, how do we know that in fact a fallback language was being used? Because our client complained that, let's say, there is we support Malaysian language as a local, as a site access, but obviously we don't have all that content available in our language. So it's being displayed in pure English. So in fact, that's actually a duplicate of the English content. So as for search engine optimization, we should actually know that if an English fallback is being used, so we do not provide it as a link in the double head in the head section. You understand what I'm trying to say?
Yeah, I understand, but I think this is probably a non-issue about the search engine optimization, since, well, I'm not an expert from that, so then maybe what the customer should do is not using prioritized languages and just go for only, let's say, French content and no fallback to English. And that's it.
When you say you want to know which, if there was a fallback, want to know in which way, like, should the markup be different if it fell back, or?
No, the trouble is that we are adding for SEO optimization, search engine optimization, we are adding link wells in the top of the head. So as all engines come in there, then they know that actually there's another language, an alternative language available. And there you would like to list all the languages available. But of course, I would not know for that object that there is in fact a Malay version which is available as a fallback. But it's still not.
Here you go. You may have this kind of information from the version info object, which you can get from location or content. So let's say, let's see that here in the full beer, for instance. Just to have good completion. So, for instance, you would have content that content info dot version. No, it's version info here. And here you will have language codes. So you can check in within this array, which is actually an array of language codes, if your current locale is in there. I mean, easy publish locale.
I see, yeah.
And for your then back in your page layout in your head somewhere, check this and maybe add the main the link to the main location, and that should be the trick.
Yes, so this language codes contain the translated versions available.
The language codes
Yes.
existing in this version, yes. So if it's only in English, we'll only have English. If you have alternative translations, they will be listed here.
Let's say, just dump it. Let's see. See, this one is only available in English, and if I'm what was the other one? No. One second. We have one translated. Can't remember again. Yeah, from this review here. Of course, forget it.
Post-planche effect.
This one. And this one I know it should be translated. Yes. Well, I didn't translate the content itself.
Yeah, I see. Yeah, but there is actually an object.
Yeah, and oh no, it's yes. If I go to French, yes, I have translated it. So it will be in this array. So it's then very easy to check.
So I guess in that case, just extend in the page layout extension, override the head block and add what you need to add here, or add a variable which you can use and so on.
Thanks. Good.
Yeah, this is much more advanced than just intermediate, but anyway, that's cool. What we have now, we still don't have. Yes, that's it. We still don't have the embedded review here. The main reason we didn't add it directly in the template is because we cannot directly have the reverse related content. Meaning, from the review, for the review article, we just select a beer, right? So this is directly related, this is a direct relation. But from the beer, we want the review embedded as well, so this is now a reverse relation, right? But the reverse relations are not embedded in the content object, so we need to create a controller and request the API to do so. This is what we are going to do. So first, we need to open the beer controller, and we'll just create, you know, an action dedicated for the view beer, for reviewing the beer. So here we only have the view home action. I won't go into details on that. That was a previous step that we just skipped. Let's do the same for the beer itself. So we create a method, view function, public function, view beer action. Okay, suffixing by action is a convention in Symfony. You should really use this suffix. It's like for beer controller, always and suffix your controllers by controller. We are going to mimic the prototype of the built-in view controller, which actually just takes the location ID, like you already passed it to for several times when you're doing sub requests. The view type. Okay. We might also have some additional parameters and layout stuff, but we're gonna just keep them. The good thing with Symfony, when resolving controllers, it will just try to match the parameters named, the parameter names you chose, with the requested, the needed parameters, usually from the route. If you're a Symfony developer, you add a route matching a controller, and you can define here which parameters are expected to be passed from the route itself to the controller. For the view controller, it's just the location ID and view type that are mandatory. And yeah, you just need to name them as it is just expected. The other one, if they are not present and they have default values, it doesn't care. So, the first thing we are going to do is to prepare the return value. What we want to do here, there are several ways to do so, but the recommended way is to do like in the method above, just forwarding the request to the built-in view controller and just enrich it with the few variables we just fetched. So here we want the reverse related content. So we will just forward this. So basically, just return this get. So it will get the we'll just get the easy content service, which is an alias for the view controller, and call the view location method, and just fill the holes here. So location ID, we're passing the view type. Here it also expects this variable, so we just putting it to false. We don't need that. So this is the default value. And it expects a parameters array. So this is what we're going to add. So here, for now, just add an empty array. And let's do some nice indenting. Here we go. So we're going to add what we expect, what we need just here. Okay. Now, what we need is just using the public API. It's, well, can be a bit stressful at the first time, but actually it's quite easy to use for loading stuff. So here we're looking for content, right? The public API is decoupled in several services. We have content service, location service, or URL alias service, and so on. All these services are contained in the repository. So what we need to first do is get the repository. Repository is get repository.
And this is possible because controller is actually the Easy Publish core bundle controller, which provides this facility, just like the container where Symfony controller gives you access to the container. And the repository is kind of like a container.
Yeah. So when you want to implement Easy Publish aware controllers, instead, and you're using you know, the Symfony generator for that. You will have, by default, your controller will extend the abstract class from the Symfony framework bundle. But it's better to change this to the Easy Publish core bundle controller, because this abstract controller provides you a shorthand method, like how to get the repository, for instance, instead of calling the container and all the stuff. So, okay, now we have the repository. Let's get the content service. Okay, so repository. Oh, get content service. Everything is completely documented in PHP docs, so all modern IDEs should completely autocomplete.
As far as we know, it works fine with NetBeans, Eclipse, and PHP Storm, of course, but without any major flaw.
And yeah, should work with the Sublime text thing, but for this, I think you need some kind of weird plugin. But anyway, I don't like Sublime text. Let's see what we can do from content service. So we want the relation. Let's say, well, this is review, right? Review content. So content service. And what do we have here? Well, let's see if I look for relations. Oh, nice. I have the load reverse relations. That's pretty cool. But the problem is that we don't have the content info yet. You can see that this method is expecting a content info object for this to work. So we have the location ID. So maybe we should first load the location and get the content info from there and pass it to it. So we're going to first do this, and we will refactor a bit so that we don't have too many temporary variables. So location. So we need the location service for that. Get location service and load location. Here we go.
So as a reminder here, what we are doing is we are overriding the controller that renders the view location for a beer, meaning you just show a beer in the browser. It will send the location ID, and we want to enrich what we send to Twig with the reviews that might be linked to the beer we are showing. It might also not have a review, of course.
Okay, now that we have the location, I know that the location contains the content info object. Not the whole content, of course, like it was before, but the content info is sufficient. So now, let's say I want the review, content service, and yeah, load reverse relations, location, get content info. Here we go.
Is anybody wondering about the difference between content and content info? I would. So, quite simply, content info gives the metadata of content. Publication date, name, a couple of fields, basically everything in the database that is in the record for a content. The content itself will contain the fields. And since it is much, much heavier in terms of database to load the full content because it will imply the version on every field and so on, much more queries, if you just need data from the content info, load the content info. Only load the content when you actually need it. And,
it's, yeah, if you just open the content info class, you will see what kind of metadata you have. You have the ID of the content. So this is the content ID, basically. The content type ID. Its name, but be careful with the name here. It's the name in the default language. So this is why we're using easy content name in Twig, because we need to figure out which language fallback we have and so on, if the name is translated or not. The section ID, the current version number, if it's published or not, the owner ID, blah blah blah, all of useful stuff.
main location ID at the bottom is quite useful.
Yes. However, we used it already, the main location ID. Just be a bit careful if you want to use multi-positioning for content. That's a nice feature in zpublish. Here it will only return the main location. So if you want to use several locations and you have only the ID, a bit more of work would be needed for that. So you will need to implement then a custom controller to fetch the right location. For the content itself, yeah, you have all the fields and stuff, and we have also a version info. Which, yeah, basically holds the data from the version, the specific version. So let's say the last published version. So of course the ID, the version number itself, the names. So all the translated things are in the version info, not in the content info. The modification date, the creator of the version, and so on. So this is coupled on purpose. Yeah, content is a specific entity, and the version is tied to the content, but they need to be treated separately. So let's get back to our controller. Nice. Actually, when I look at the PHP doc here, we can see that actually it does return an array of relation, because yeah, we have load reverse relations, not something else. So yeah, we expect an array. So yeah, let's say we're renaming the variable. So reverse relation. Okay. Now, I'm not sure I have what I need, because we are on the beer page. Maybe the beer hasn't been reviewed yet. So in that case, this array would be empty, right? Okay, not a problem. That should be the trick. Yeah. We know that we should have only one reverse relation, but there are several ways to implement relations, and there are several types of relations. So here we are looking for reverse relation by field, since the review does the relation on the beer from a field, right? And there are several other possibilities for that. So we don't want to match something else, to be sure. Let's just check. We're going to do a loop. Yeah, actually, the if is not necessary. Relation. Yeah. So, if let's have a look at the relation object. Okay, what do we have here? We have the relation ID itself, the source content ID, and the source content version number, and so blah blah blah, the source definition, and the type. Aha. What kind of type can we expect? Common, embed, link, field. Okay, sounds fair. So we are looking for a field relation type. And that should be sufficient. That's it. Okay. If relation type equals to relation this one link, then my review equals relation. So here we're looking for the source content info. As it's reverse, the destination is the beer itself. So source content info. Right. If we were more in, yes?
For the suggestions in PHP Storm, like for relation, how do you decide which class you choose? Because you have to tell PHP Storm where's the class to make him like get this constant.
Oh, you mean this class, to choose this class?
Yeah, because there are
there are a few.
Even many more of them. And do you always choose like the core?
No, always choose the API one. Skip the REST one, of course.
Yeah.
And always prefer the API one, because we're supposed to all the services from the repository are returning their hinted return values are from API.
Okay.
Usually there are abstract classes that are extended by core, but just stick to API and always type into API. That should be that should be enough.
Okay, thanks.
So if the principle of relations, reverse relations, clear for everybody, because it might not be obvious if you're not used to the content model. Like, does anybody want any further explanation on this, or can we move on?
Yeah, don't be shy.
Oh, well,
okay.
Let's move on then.
I think we're good. Maybe to be safe, we would do first define the review as null, and then we just need to assign it to the past parameters so that it will be passed to the template. So we're going to review content info. Right, that will be the twig variable name. And yeah, just no review. It might be no. So it should be okay. Actually, no, it's good. I think we should be good.
So if everything works as expected, it will just behave like before. It will use the override template and get the beer.html.twig template. But in addition to the content and location default variables, we will also have a review content info variable that might contain the content info for the review object. It might also contain null, meaning that we must of course test if it is valid before requesting properties.
To be sure to use the custom controller, we need to alter the configuration as well.
As well, as said before, the minimal template rule is a template plus a match rule, but you can also specify the custom controller, and this is what we're going to do now. So we'll just modify the location view foo for beer.
Exactly.
And add an entry.
We're adding an entry controller.
It goes without saying that it is documented.
So beer controller, and this is the view beer action. So this is the Symfony notation.
So controller and action are skipped, just like with the normal Symfony convention, where it will automatically, it expects the controller to be named beer controller, and it expects the method to be public and to be named view beer action.
Okay, maybe that being defined, just to be sure, we're going to dump the variable in the twig template. Yeah, let's try that. So, just here. Dump review content info. And see what happens. I'm pretty sure it will blow up. For this one, we don't have a review. Let's see how it behaves.
Either fatally wrong.
Please go back to his publish.
Yes, sir.
So we just decided to go with the existing convention to reference a controller in a YAML file. It's what Symfony documents.
If you provide this controller markup, are you is it mandatory to have the template declaration as well, or the controller is sufficient?
The controller might be sufficient if you directly return the view, like this render view with the regular thing in Symfony. The reason why we're keeping the template is that we're forwarding to the view controller, to the built-in one. So we are telling as well, yeah, please use the view manager to get the configured template. So that in some kind of override, like for another, for example, if we want, we could, for the English site access, choose another template, but use the same controller.
And you could indeed write your controller method entirely from scratch, completely ignore the override system, and just use whichever template, or no template at all if you want to. But it is needed to get the normal view controller working. And it's clearly a facility because it does a bit more than what we did here, in terms of headers, cache, and so on.
So, it seems to behave correctly.
That's suspicious.
Yes, that's suspicious. Fortunately, with the code completion, we make less mistakes. So yes, we don't have reviews for this beard, so this is perfectly expected. Let's see how it behaves with one with reviews. So let's say from the J.Vieilledent one, going through this. J.Vieilledent there. Uh-huh. That should not be the case. So we have a problem. Because we have a reading for that, as far as I know. Let's see.
This blonde one has a review. I'm sorry, my French is horrible. Blonde.
Yes, you're right.
Yeah, that one has. This one.
Yes. So,
It should.
okay. We have bad code.
It's reassuring, we fail.
Okay, so that should be here. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's not a link relation, it's a field relation.
So, field. And let's try again.
Sorry, why that it doesn't namespace problem in relation?
Here? No, actually, it has been automatically added by a PHP storm, so it's here. I say PHP storm is really great for that. you don't need to think about anything.
Seriously, in the case, writing namespaces manually is like, I don't know, breaking yourself a leg just to make sure you don't run too fast. Yeah, you will make mistakes typing. Well, at least you will end up knowing the namespaces, but it will just take more time to learn, but you will save time every day. So, in any case, no manual namespace typing.
So yes, we do have our content info. That's cool. Now that we have it, so we can see that we can just do a sub request. That would be good. So we are just going to replace if false by just if review content info.
Interpreted as false if review content info equals null, like in PHP.
It behaves the same way than PHP.
It's even a bit more friendly.
Hmm?
It's almost a bit more friendly, right?
Yeah. And let's copy this markup because we're going to create a new template again. Yeah. Inside embed.
So this time we'll create an embed view for the beer review. We already have one for beer.
Here we go. Now let's just customize this. Add the easy content name.
So again, it's a standard template that doesn't extend anything for the same reason than before because it's an embed. And the rest is just what we did this morning anyway. So reviews is a title plus a body, right?
Yes.
Plus a beer, but we won't show it since we already have the beer above it.
I think in the final templates I just skipped the summary. It's a bit too much. So we need the score, right? Easy field value, content score, and we need it to divide it by 2 to have it out of 5. Yeah, for convenience we just skip this. And we go for the dates. So we need to use again the content info and localized dates. So yes, content info published date.
So in real life, you will mostly not use published date for this because in a real editorial content, you usually want to enter manually on which date you want to see it shown as published. Because you can't change the created date, but you could have a publication date field of type date or date time so that you can control which date is shown. But this works fine for simple cases and for workshops.
And here we need to link to the review as well. So this is nothing new that what we already did before, so this is why I'm going a bit faster with that. If you want me to slow down a bit, just say it. So again, the path. And we don't have the location object, so easy URL alias and location ID is the content info main location.
So this is classic Symfony stuff where you give the name of the route and you give the arguments expected by the route to get it built.
Okay. So again, we need some configuration. Update the configuration for embeds for the review. Yeah, let's just copy this one. And beer review. So beer review here. It's review.html? Oh, right. And here it's beer review. Right, just adding new rule. And now in the full beer here, we just need to do a sub request to let's say render ASI again. So render ESI. So the controller is still easy contents and embed content. We need the content ID. So this is review content info dot ID and the view type embed. View type embed.
Could you explain again the difference between easy render, easy and render, easy render, or what is this?
The
Render easy?
this one, the ESI?
Yes, sorry.
Yeah. The render is ESI tells Symfony that you want to use an ESI block so that it can be handled separately at the HTTP level by the reverse proxy. So let's say varnish, if you use varnish, or the built-in reverse proxy if you use it. But you don't want to use the built-in reverse proxy, just use varnish. And if I don't specify ESI, it will do an inline rendering, an inline sub request. So it means that the content will be pasted, embedded. Yeah. So here the advantage is that if we update the content, the review itself, only the ESI will have its cache refreshed and not the whole page. So that's a great advantage. I think it should be, yeah.
And where does that embed content action is defined?
This is in our custom controller. Here we defined it. See, we use the repository, the content service to fetch the reverse relations, and.
Or did you mean the controller that we call?
Yeah, you said easy content, along embed content.
It's one of the default controllers we provide.
Yeah.
We have view location, view content.
The easy content and the embed content action is defined in one of the core controllers.
Yeah,
Yes,
it's in the core
yes.
bundle.
And actually, we could have used also view contents, but as we are using the embed one, let's just call it directly. It's public, so
What's the difference between view content and embed
I
content?
was coming to that. The main difference is that the embed content will check the permissions, the user permissions to view embedded content, because we have a specific permission for that. That's all. If you don't want to check this, then just use view content. But if you use the embed view type, it will check again. So yeah, this is basically how you should do that for embed. I think we're good. Let's try. If it's working, that's suspicious. Ah. Okay. An exception. Object integer value could not be converted to int.
Sounds like the score, right?
Hmm?
To be the score that failed.
It's just a mistake in the template itself. What did I do? It was here. Yes.
Yeah, makes sense. You, when you call it the field value, you get a value PHP object, and we just divided the PHP object by 2, which is a bit unpredictable and will fail. So what we need is to call the property we are looking for, which is value. And this should work now.
Much better. We were missing the featured, the little heart glyph as well. So this, yes, we need to check it. This is just like the full the full view. So
one thing to note here, if we had overridden the template to render this field, we could just have rendered it in both templates in the same way, avoid having to do the if, because the if to show the glyph would have been in our override template and would have been reusable. So that's one good point about overriding. You can create a list of common elements which you can use all over the place and make maintenance much easier and development much faster.
I think that should be good. Yeah. Well, it's a Belgian beer, but well, I didn't taste it, so yes.
Feature is a checkbox.
Yes, this is a checkbox. In like a coup de cœur in French. Oh, I think we're good now. Does the link work? It seems so. If I could on Discord more. Did I click? No. Right, I have my review. My embedded content. Yeah. All right. But we're still missing something. This is the glass type. Here. Maybe I should switch to English again. Like ENG. Here we have a non-applicable glass type hard-coded here in the template. So we will need to enrich the controller a bit more because it's also a relation. Yeah. And we just want the name. We want the content info in order to be able to display the class name. So let's go back to the beer controller. How are we going to do that? We should do the break first. How would you do that, Bertrand?
Me? Well, it's a relation, so I would fetch the related object, the content info for the related class, and assign it to a variable. Sounds good?
Yeah. So now we're not looking for the reverse relations, just the standard relation, right?
So glass is a field from a beer, of type object relation, singular. So we...
No, it's not singular.
It's not singular? Right.
I don't remember how I did this before, so I'll improvise it. Okay, so normal relation. Yes. I could access it directly by the field, actually.
Yes, you might be able to. Well, and just for the record, we both of us are clearly back-end developers. We don't like markup, we don't like JavaScript, and we don't write templates that much. So we are a bit in not uncharted territory because we wrote part of it, but we clearly don't do that on a daily basis. So if you have questions about database, clustering, repository, and so on, we can answer.
I'm going to cheat a bit. So how do they do that? Okay. Get yeah, that's right. Now I remember. Okay, remember the easy field value twig function. Actually, there is a service usable in PHP to do the same thing. That, like, we want the translated value, right? Problem with the raw content object is that you will have all your potential translations here from your language chain. So that is not very practical, like looping against all the languages. Okay, we have done this for you in this translation helper service. So this is what we are going to do. The first class type is null. And class value equals. So we were going to get the translation helper service. Again, Symfony 2 plugin to the rescue. And get translated fields. Yeah. Translated field, which was class, as far as I remember. So, okay. And we need the value. Here you go. But
I think it's expecting another argument.
yeah.
Like the contents.
Okay, we're just missing the contents. Ha. So let's load the contents.
We have the location. We can't get the content from the location?
No, it's expecting a content, so we need to load it. Okay, no problem.
So
Let's load the content.
Yes, about the API, one thing we did do a lot in the past, we had those famous fetch functions. We have split feelings about those. One of their main interests was that it was very easy to fetch more data from the database. It's also their main drawback, because it could easily lead to templates running, I don't know, 50,000 queries. And it's clearly not very good for performances. So one key aspect of the public API is that it is predictable. It doesn't do anything by magic. It's not what it's supposed to do. Higher level layers might do it, but the public API, it does what you ask it to do. Fetching a property will not run queries for you, because we want to be sure that it does what you asked it to do, because it's not as risky as it was before. So it should give you control over performances and scalability.
Yeah.
I can see that you are using load content by content info. Which one is more efficient to use, the load content by its ID?
It really depends on what you have. Here we got the location, so if you have the location, you have the content info. The great advantage of load content by content info is that it's type hinted. So you can be sure of what you're passing. If you're passing in something else than a content info object, you will have an exception. While with just an ID, it's mixed. So it can be, well, for now, it's expected to be an integer, but in the future it can be anything like hash or something. was stored some like this in the database or in the SQL stuff. So I tend to prefer load content by content info if you have the object.
But in terms of efficiency, it's exactly the same thing. It's well, we don't have the code here, directly here, but it's quite clear that load by content info will just get the ID from the content info and load by ID. But at least you are certain that you got a content info, and unless you just forged one, it will be a valid one.
Yes, but if you have the location, you have the content ID, because location has the public property content ID as well. So
It's the same thing.
Yeah, then we really prefer the content info.
okay.
Anyway, what the load content by content info is doing is just calling the load content by the content info ID. But the difference you will have is the type ending. So, yeah. One method call more, but yeah, that's not a big deal. Okay, so I think I fixed my code. Class value, get translated field, the content object, and the class field identifier, and we get the value. And the value is, what do we have again? Relation list value. Oh yeah, we have the destination content IDs. So it can be very handy to directly load the content info, right? Now that we have the content ID, yeah. First, maybe check if it's not empty. So if class value destination, let's type it. This is
By the way,
This PHP documentation works with most IDEs. It's not only PHP Storm. Technically, you should almost never need it with PHP Storm because it has connection to the dependency injection container. But if you do this, people using NetBeans, Eclipse, or any IDE will be able to get completion. So it can be a good idea to do it because not everybody has an IDE with such a plugin, and to be frank, it's a complex plugin.
so. Here we go. If class value destination content IDs.
So if the arrays of related objects is not empty, we will fetch we load the content based on the first destination content ID.
Content service, load content with class value, destination content IDs, and then we know that the first entry is filled. We'll take this.
Because all beers have a class.
And we pass it. So, class type, yeah. Class type, or maybe class type content info.
Actually, it's the content. It's the content you call load content.
Oh, no, I would just want the content info. You're right. It's when you only need meta information like names and stuff like that, you don't need the fields. That this is exactly our case.
Don't load the content.
Better using the content info instead of the content. But now I'm. We'll see if I'm not if it will work. I'm not sure anymore. Okay. Back in our beer HTML.twig. Which one is it? No. The full one. Where is it? this is a glass type here. We're removing the to-do line. And here we go. I'm gonna just okay. If we have this glass type content info, then we display it. So easy content. Oops. I think I need the whole content actually. I'm starting to be a bit. No.
Name doesn't accept the content info, right? Does it?
I'm not sure.
But he only wrote it. No reason he should know.
Okay, so if we have, if the glass type content info is filled, then we just display the display the name of the glass, and if not, we just display non-applicable. Right? Pretty sure it will blow up.
Sorry, it didn't.
Oh no! Oh! So now we have this small glass type, the goblet.
Well, most of them are drunk in pens, but it looks like some beers are actually drunk in flutes, which surprised me a bit. But Paul would know.
Okay. I think actually we're done for this one.
So, do you all see why we would create a custom controller? What are the use cases? I will take that as a no. No, I don't not see it, right? So, clearly, the basic controllers we have are like controllers for a unique item. Either you view one content or one location. But in most cases, you would need much more data than that. You can see that you have the facility of just adding, well, fetching the data you need using the public API. It's not very hard to use. It's at least predictable and well documented. No surprises to expect here. Just add what you need and pass it along to what would have been called in any case. So you don't have to manage the cache headers, the time to leave, the user hash for authenticated cache and everything. But if you need something more advanced, go see how the native controller is written and base your code in it. But this should cover like 80% of your needs. And you might notice when developing your templates that yes, subcontrollers can be very consuming in resources. I think you said the other day that you should not go above 10 subcontroller calls per page because it has a cost. A good example is images. It's many customers or developers use image relation, well, object relation instead of image to store images because it will allow you to store all your images in your media library, organized only as images, and then editors can go and pick the image from there. And it has other advantages like attaching metadata to your images. But the thing is, if you use a normal view controller or location controller, you won't get this field. You could do a sub request, but if you have 4 images or 5 images, the cost in memory and CPU is going to be high. So in that case, it is better to write a custom controller, just fetch the images using the API, assign them to the controller. We are also thinking about adding extra layers on top of the repository to facilitate this because it is a common use case. But we first need to identify that it is indeed a common use case. So for now, at least, you have a simple enough possibility to do so manually. And of course, nothing prevents you from having a small bundle with a couple of controllers you use in every project and just add those to your compose.json and reuse what you did 6 months ago.
Okay, we have 10 minutes left before the break, so I will just ask you a question. Can someone tell me what problem we have with this controller? Isn't it a bit fat?
Oh, you're just doing too much, probably.
Yes, exactly.
Some people say that controllers or methods should not be above 10 lines or 20 lines.
Exactly.
Comments.
Oh, that's good.
Except comments. But sure. Well, you know, I have it here on my laptop. Good code is like a good joke. It means no explanation.
We could discuss it, but we kind of agree that if your code is well written, you don't need comments. You need comments if it's not well written.
Here, we could have added comments, but usually, at least when using the public API, the repository, your code should be self-explainable. In that case, just if you're doing, more trickier things, yes, you can leave excuses. But anyway, but yeah, the main problem here is that we do way too much for a controller. We don't use the model really. We're using we can consider the repository as the model, but actually we should refactor this. And refactor won't do this now, but all these fetches to get two variables, this should be done in a service, in a dedicated class. Saying, okay, I want this reverse relation, give it to me, and so on. So that first, it's reusable, two, it's testable, and three, it gives your code more readable, a lot. So, well, you can first write in your controller, then refactor a bit. That's quite easy to do. Just write a service and call it just within the controller.
Well, to be frank, a simple way of simplifying this and making it more readable without adding inline comments would be to take, for instance, the review part and the glass part and just add methods that have semantical meaning, like get reviews, get glass, and then you know that get glass is going to return a glass, and you know that get reviews, well, is most likely going to return reviews, or you should change your job. And it will make the method much more readable, even if it's just sitting in the same controller, but it won't fix the architectural issue Jérôme mentioned. And since Symfony makes it that easy to add new services that do dedicated things, it's very easy to respect the single responsibility principle that we should all live by. But we won't do it now.
Last but not least, we mentioned services, but of course, PHP allows you to add private methods. Don't do that in the controller. This is not the way to place private methods. You should have really other objects to do this for you.
For instance, we could have some kind of beer decorator, or whatever we want to call it, where you just give your beer and it gives you back the beer with the glass and the reviews. That would make sense. And good point is, you could indeed, if it's properly type hinted and stuff, just unit test it. And if it's big like this, don't try to unit test it. It won't work.
Then that will be functional testing. I think we will have the break now, unless you have questions first, maybe? Okay. The last part, we will do a list. So again, with custom controller and with pagination. This is kind of a really common use case. So yeah, so have a nice break then.